Hello, welcome everybody. Isn't this great? We got the whole setup going on now. We got a command station. I can see everything. We got an NSA deck down here. Wonderful, wonderful. Hold on, let me pull up your comments. Wow, it's brilliant. What is this? 67 of you. Brilliant. Make sure you throw a chankla, maybe throw a shahata at the like button. So, yeah, I see you. This is great. So we got a lot of topics to cover as usual. You know, I like to dabble in all sorts of international affairs there, boy. And, yeah, we have a lot. Do you see that boat that caught on fire? I can guarantee you, if this is something, okay, let me put this another way to you. I once read a story. It's true, by the way. This is real. This happened. Okay, look it up if you don't believe me. I don't remember the name of the U-boat, but it was a German submarine during World War II. And they had a new toilet. They developed this revolutionary brand new toilet. They put it on board, okay? And one of the crew members wasn't trained properly in it, and he accidentally did something that flooded the entire submarine. And when the seawater got into the submarine, it reacted with the batteries, and it created chlorine gas. And I don't think they died, but the whole thing had to be scuttled, right? So they had to surface. They were all taken prisoner by a British ship, and they had to scuttle the boat. What a goddamn screw up! I mean, really, can you imagine going for a dump and you just 2 hours later you have to scuttle an entire submarine because you didn't know how to flush a toilet? I'm just saying, if they're testing a brand new revolutionary toilet, they won't tell you what it was. It'll be a secret. It looks bad. Hold on, let me pop out the comments over here. You can pop out the chat. Wow, this is brilliant. All this technology. Amazing. So many ways for the NSA to spy on us. Isn't it beautiful? Okay. Wow. Yes, he probably used baby wipes. Anyway, Michael says it sounds like proper German engineering to me. Well, I mean that's not fair, because we all know German engineering is great. That's probably like the exception that confirms the rule, right? So there you go. Mona says, Richie, can you see okay? Oh yes, I can. Am I allowed to brag on your behalf? I don't know if you want me to or not. Collins is no. I didn't. I just rearranged a little bit. You know, it's the same as ghetto lamps that I've had for like 6-7 years now. We ain't changed nothing, man. But yeah. That's always good when it comes to videography. Yes, that's good. Okay, so I just don't like this song. That's all. Okay, so we're gonna start with electoral politics. I want to get. Let's start with what's happening right now. Dieter says, sag mal was auf Deutsch. Sag mal was auf Deutsch. Here we go, guys. Here we go. So, okay. I'm just gonna make sure I'm recording here. Hashtag Pelosi must go is trending on Twitter. Is there an uprising? Did she do anything bad? Did she do a doo-doo? Oh, she's done a whole list of doo-doos. I can assure you that. Shahid Buttar, as you may remember, he came on the show. We had a little chit-chat about how he's running his campaign. He is facing Nancy Pelosi in November, okay? They're battling over California's 12th congressional district. So this is in the Bay Area in San Francisco. And as you may recall, California has a jungle primary system, right? So it doesn't matter what party you are, right? At the end, it's just going to be two people facing off. And they could be from the same party, which is the case. Okay, so we have both Shahid and Nancy Pelosi at bar. Yes, Lady Pelosi. No, she doesn't deserve that title, but at the same time, it kind of speaks to her aristocratic demeanor. And what is she worth? 120 million? Yes, I think it gives her a more evil allure, because a lot of people think that she's some kind of progressive. Unfortunately, yes. So finally, you have them facing off, okay, in November, and the Shahid campaign, they launched this hashtag initiative, which I think is great. It was trending nationally, okay, number one, hashtag Pelosi must go, and I think if you're not familiar, I'm sure most of you are, but if you're not already familiar with some of the juxtapositions in terms of policy, let me just introduce you very quickly. By the way, go watch the interview if you haven't seen it. So, I mean, just to name a few, you already know that Shahid supports Medicare for All, Green New Deal, executive accountability. He wants to legalize cannabis. These are very important. End mass incarceration, end mass surveillance, right? I can't even name other candidates that actually even speak about ending mass surveillance. Even Bernie Sanders barely touched that. Abolishing ICE, stop funding wars. Now, there you go. I think you can see that a bit better now. Entire list. And many more policies. So look, they come from different backgrounds. They come from different backgrounds too, which is something that I would also mention, because a lot of these progressives that got into office, they don't come from an activist background. Shahid does. Okay, so he was protesting against the Iraq War. He's been doing all of this stuff for decades now. Okay, so he has a track record that you can look at. Now, you guys already know that I'm not 100%, into electoral politics in the same way that a lot of people are who think that it's some kind of entertainment sport. It's not. You should be very wary. Nonetheless, I think, this is a very clear. There's no mistaking here what needs to be done. Nancy Pelosi, that really has to go. She is a crook. She's a crony. She is an enabler of every single president that comes on, whether they're Democrat or Republican. She was around since the Bush era. She's been in Congress making sure that they can get away with murder. They can get away with these illegal wiretappings, right, with the Patriot Act. Make sure they can get away with the NSA mass surveillance. She let them start this illegal drone program, the whole kill list, all of it. She never stands up to Trump. The biggest act of defiance that she had was ripping up a piece of paper. Wow, big deal. It would be nice to not sign off on his military budgets, or, I don't know, hold him accountable for illegally bombing Syria, launching more airstrikes in Afghanistan. I can't even remember by how much. I think it went up by, in the first few months that Trump got into office, you had something like an 50% increase in civilian deaths in Afghanistan. Once again, go and watch Abby Martin's work. Man, she is a team player through and through, right? Once again, this speaks to the whole one-party system that you have in the United States, where Democrats and Republicans in unison work together actively to make sure that, they can maintain their elite status, that their friends in the private sector, big oil, big pharma, military-industrial complex, can continue plundering the Earth's resources and using your taxpayer money to fund wars and fund illegal operations that violate all of your constitutional rights. They don't give a crap, okay, about representing you. Zero. And so this is absolutely bewildering to me when people say, or Nancy Pelosi herself proclaims that she is a progressive. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? It's time people go back to the word socialist or communist, because I don't think you're going to have many people trying to co-opt that one. Yeah. Anyway, so I think this is a very, very clear, race. Make no mistake here. You need to get rid of her. And I think we'll have Shai back on the show for sure before November to talk more about his campaign. It's really imperative that people get the word out, because a lot of people, once again, they've become so desensitized. They don't even know about Nancy Pelosi's track record, that she is just one of the most disgusting war criminals that has ever wandered the halls of Capitol Hill. I mean, really, she belongs in a jail cell. She really does. She's a disgusting war criminal. And she didn't prosecute Bush, she didn't prosecute Obama, she didn't prosecute Trump. She won't lift a goddamn finger to protect anyone's rights domestically or abroad. She is not going to give you Medicare for all. She's not going to give you UBI, Green New Deal, nothing, not a single one. Remember that. She is always putting her foot down, making sure that you can't get ahead. Now, with that said, you can't lay all of the blame just on her, because, then you're giving a pass essentially to the progressives who get into office, because then Nancy Pelosi's blocking me. I know she's blocking you. So do something about it. You got elected to do something about it, right? So do something about it. So yes, she's an evil crony. She's a witch running the party. But nonetheless, you must hold progressives accountable, because if they're looking to get into office, well, they better act once they get in there. And I think Shai will. I think he's better than most. I think he has a very good understanding of what the surveillance state is, of the foreign policy, of the wars. I think he has a much better understanding than others, than most. Definitely. And, once again, here, you just got to get the word out. So I think it's very good that it's trending. And, man, this is another example of why it's so toxic to have these neoliberals in power, because, they'll create these false differences on paper between themselves and Republicans. But at the end of the day, they are maintaining the same colonialist, imperialist, capitalism gone wild empire. That's it. And you need people who are going to overthrow that. I mean, for God's sake, at least start somewhere. And, someone who's been an activist for most of his life, I think that's a good start. Once again, don't put all of your faith into electoral politics, but this one, man, there's no discussion. I mean, you got to get rid of her. Seriously, she belongs at The Hague. Not just outside of Congress. And, I really... Again, I mean, we don't want to put on our tinfoil hats, but I really wouldn't be surprised if they tried to, fight tooth and nail to make sure that they rig it in her favor. If they see that he's really going to win, and I think he stands a very good chance, I really wouldn't be surprised if they did some shady nonsense. You remember with the Shadow app, you remember I'm not going to go into the whole laundry list. We know it. 2016, yeah. Democrats play dirty. Yeah. The United States rigged their elections. Good morning. It's nice to have you with us. Nice that you've woken up to this. Yes. So I hope that doesn't happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if they started, doing some shady nonsense. She won't even debate him. That's just one thing. I just won't even acknowledge his existence because she's so scared. So I just take that into consideration, right? And yeah, there you go. So so yeah, I want to talk about the Green Party a bit now. I want to talk about the Green Party. Oh la la. Okay. Where do we start with this one? Because I uploaded a video earlier. If you haven't seen, you should go watch it. It got a lot of people angry. Again, this is really funny with it's really easy for politicians to fool a lot of voters, right? Because they're not used to sifting, to digging through the BS when it comes to foreign policy. So it's very easy to fool them. They just say end the wars, and it's like, oh wow, yes, I'm convinced. No, it's not enough. It's not enough. Anyway, we're not going to go into that whole thing again, but nonetheless, Okay, there we go. So Howie Hawkins is officially the Green Party nominee for president. Okay, they had their convention online yesterday. I think it was on a Zoom call. Yes, something around 5 hours long. It was a mess. So I didn't get to watch the whole thing. But there are rampant, widespread allegations of rigging. Yes, of foul play. Very much reminiscent of the Democratic convention in 2016, where they got rid of Bernie Sanders, albeit a lot more explicit, I would say. Yes, in their goals. So I can. I don't want to spoil too much because I'm going to have a special guest on this week to talk about that. Okay, who's going to really go into detail about what happened and break it down to you, to a T. So I won't go too much into detail, but yes, there are rampant allegations of the party itself playing favorites the entire campaign, not just yesterday during the convention, but the display of favoritism that they gave Howie Hawkins is really questionable, to say the very least. So they've a lot of people within the party. Let me show you this. They got together, right, and they're sending a complaint. They're sending a complaint to the Federal Elections Commission. Okay, so take a look at this. This was passed along to me by an anonymous source. So check this out. All right. They're really not happy about what happened. And this is a very, very detailed letter of complaint. So there are multiple examples of the party playing favorites, of doxing that went on. So, people who tried to stand up, people who tried to protest against the party's, blatant propping up of Howie Hawkins. People who tried to speak out against it, they got doxed. It's a giant mess. It's really... They full on deployed a wide variety of bully tactics, not just against other candidates, but just anybody who spoke out. And so, once again, if you want to look at a real breakdown of this letter specifically, go and watch Convo Couch's video. So I'll link it below. They did an excellent breakdown of this, and we're gonna have a special guest on the show this week to talk more about this, about what happened. This is. To call it disappointing is an understatement. Listen, man, a lot of people, they're turning to the Green Party as some kind of alternative because they've been screwed over by the Democrats, by the Republicans, by the one-party system over and over. We know this. Now, Dr. Jill Stein, Howie Hawkins is no Dr. Jill Stein. From what I can tell, yes, they know each other pretty well. But, when it comes down to the policies, you saw the video I did about foreign policy and Howie Hawkins and these disagreements that they had. So, man, in the words of Ben Norton, Howie Hawkins is really a soft imperialist on many fronts. Okay, he's more of a European green than anything else, right? So it's like, yes, we want to change things and we want to be better, and we want people to have healthcare and clean environment, but we're not going to dismantle the empire. Well, this is unacceptable because both of these things, all of these things, go hand in hand. Yes, boy, I'm afraid very much so. Okay, so again, we're not going to dive into his foreign policy. This is foreign policy and all other the entire platform aside. This is not okay what they did, and I'm not just talking about the convention. Just playing favorites. We've seen this movie before, and I just find it really suspect. I find it really weird that in a time of such peril, right, where you have a pandemic, you have recession, you have just the goddamn planet on fire, you have I'm not just talking about the protests, but so many wars, and then all along, the only party that's supposed to stand up against this duopoly, they push a candidate who is repeating the same talking points that you hear coming out of the mouths of Hillary Clinton and Dick Cheney. Come on, man. Are you serious? This is the alternative to the duopoly? Come on. No. This is not going to fly. So anyway, there are a lot of people thinking of voting green in November. They're not too happy about being shoved, they're not too happy about having Howie Hawkins shoved down their throat for multiple reasons, and this is a big one of them. Look, the Green Party already have enough obstacles to overcome as it is. Okay, they need to hit that 5% so they can have access to federal funding. They don't need to, get petitions to open up ballots for their candidates signed every time. So they have enough obstacles to overcome. I really don't think that Howie Hawkins is so charismatic, imperialist, or soft imperialist or not, that he's going to actually rally enough support to get over that 5%. But this rigging, man, if it's already off to a rocky start, you're screwed. And look, man, I have no dog in this race. All of the dogs are imperialists, so I screwed either way, But this is not okay at all. And so, look, again, I'm not going to leave this up to speculation nor conjecture. I'm going to leave this to someone who's down in the trenches and who knows what they're talking about. And so get ready this week. We'll have a special guest on who's going to reveal all. Okay, who's going to talk and speak directly to this. So there you go. Just wanted to give you that bit of news that Howie Hawkins is now officially the Green Party nominee. And if you expect much better from the Democrats, I know many of you don't, but if you expect much better, no. Bernie Sanders put up no opposition. They gave the thing away to Biden, and it's nothing but a coronation now. Okay, I don't think they're even going to host a Zoom call. Right? I think if I recall correctly, there's not even going to be a convention. Okay, at this point. So yes, I told you they will capitalize off of the pandemic to do that, but nonetheless, they're not. You don't even get to watch. It's done. It's a done deal. It's Biden. Take it or leave it. And if you leave it, you get Trump. So it's just screwed either way. You're screwed either way. Yes, it's very, very underwhelming. I know. But once again, this is what happens when you put all of your eggs into one basket. You can't depend entirely on electoral politics. It didn't have to be this way. You shouldn't have to depend on one person to, take charge of your entire policy platform. This is ridiculous. It's futile. Look what happened when they got rid of Bernie. So, I mean, the strategy wouldn't have worked anyway. And so, a lot of people are understanding now, not just because of these protests, but looking back on history, you're starting to see a lot of people take note that you need both at the same time. Okay, it's not enough to have just electoral politics or party politics 100% of the time. No, you need direct action. You need a mix of both. Otherwise, it don't work. How it is, man. How it is. It's one thing getting people out in the streets, but you need to have a clear agenda. You need to have a very distinct list of demands so people know what you're about. But nonetheless, on the flip side, which is where most people are, is that, they know what they want. They say, yeah, I want healthcare, I want UBI, I want Green New Deal. But then when their movements, their parties, their candidates get co-opted or threatened or whatever happens, at the end of the day, they're not fighting for those policies as hard as they should be. What can you do? Nothing, because there's no foundation, right? No one took the time to build a movement of workers that are ready to go on strike, that are ready to shut down the economy, that are ready to provide a counterbalance, a counterweight, right? You can't have one and forget about the other. You need both. There you go. Fate says, keep an eye out for that Libya content. You demand, let me know when. Yes, you know it. Especially right now, without going into a full-fledged segment, especially right now. Actually, I did cover this before. Like, you had a couple of planes coming from United Arab Emirates, right? They were flying them to Ben Gurion Airport. And then they were saying that, this is aid. This is humanitarian medical aid for Palestinians. And the Palestinians were like, well, why are you flying this to their airport? I mean, it's not like Palestinians have control over their airspace, but nonetheless, it was like, they knew what it was. They knew that the UAE is just trying to normalize relations with the Zionist occupation, right? So, on top of that, these planes, man, very suspicious crap what they were doing to them. So the medical equipment was not being offloaded to Palestinians, but they were reloading the planes full of military gear, and guess where they were flying that off to? Libya. So yeah, you have a giant shadow / proxy war, whatever you want to call it. To me, this is all, it's all imperialism, man. They have a giant war going on in Libya that no one is talking about, and it's absolutely insane. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, you know how complicated the Syria war is? This is exactly like that. It's just as complicated. Like, you have 15 different sides, and it's just a giant goddamn mess, and it's not as clear cut as you would think. So, yeah, I mean, definitely by all means, we need to cover that. And thank you, Dan. Oh, Dan, yes. So thanks for speaking up, Richard. # clean the greens. Jesse Ventura is going to be entering soon. Stay vigilant. Look, man, I think Jesse Ventura is great. And I've talked about it before, how, when it comes to foreign policy, man, especially Syria, he nailed it. I was pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting that. I wasn't. Because usually you hear the same thing. Just like I was quite underwhelmed by Howie Hawkins. I always go in expecting the worst. We're in the worst. There's sanctions. There's people starving. There's a war. You can't even go to Syria. It's destroyed. It is the worst. We're in it. So you don't expect anything better. And so I was pleasantly surprised to hear his take on it. And, I wish Jesse would come on the show. If there's any ways to page him, then by all means do that. And yeah, I appreciate the support, and thanks for keeping me in the loop. I really appreciate it. So let me just check if I didn't miss nobody else. I want to make sure I didn't miss nobody. Wow, we got 145 people watching. That's wonderful. Make sure you hit that like button for the algorithm, because YouTube likes to keep channels like this in a cave. So it helps with the algorithm. Let me just see if I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. This is really nice. So hold on. I don't know what Mona said. I don't care. I'm gonna flex. I want to flex for both Nicola and Mona. They helped out with this, and now there's a screen that actually works, and I can see everything, and it's really practical. So thank you so much. This is wonderful. I told you this is the biggest upgrade since the fixed battery that we got, which was also quite an expenditure, Bob. So this is great. This is wonderful. I can see everything in front. Oh, okay. OAT Poon, thank you for the super chat. Says sending love from Berlin. Do your thing, my dude. Thank you very much. Vielen Dank. And Anthony sent a banana peel as usual. We love it. We love it, guys. We love it. So there you go. So yeah, guys, before we get into the rest of the segments, we are actually very close to the 300 mark. So check this out. Are you ready? Check this out. Hold on, where's that? Let me show this to you. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? We are almost at 300 members on Patreon, man. That is absolutely sick. Okay, that is sick. I cannot even believe this. So, I just want to give a shout out to everybody supporting the show, whether it's on Rockfan or Patreon or GoFundMe, whatever, man. Like, just thank you so much. And, this is great having all of your support, especially when they're trying to demonetize us. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting independent news, anti-imperialist news. Underscore that. You don't get a lot of that, do you? So yeah, definitely go sign up. People sign up. I'll play a crab dance for them. Get a little party going. So yeah. And, you can also support. So thank you very much. I think my audio cut out there quickly, but it's fine. It's cool. So thank you very much, everybody supporting the show. And the links are in the live chat. All right. Man, what's absolutely crazy? What's crazy? Like, I can't handle some of this politics, man. It's really, really ridiculous. J9 Campbell, thank you very much for the super chat. It says, young one. Ooh, I'm happy to see all that you cover. Old lady that has seen too much destruction. I'm in the USA. Well, I thank you very much, especially calling me young one. You know, we're starting to get a few gray hairs here and there, but I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you're enjoying the show. That's very humbling. I really love it when there people older than us who come along and say that they're watching. It really makes me feel like we're connecting to everybody. And, messages getting out there. So it's really, really humbling. Thank you. So, okay. Let me just continue with I don't even know how to begin with this one. This one is really preposterous. Okay, check this out. Are you ready? Are you ready for some more dystopian content? So Disneyland, Florida, right? Disneyland Orlando has decided to reopen. Yes, of course, right? What better time to open in the middle of summer during a global pandemic? I mean, this is pristine family adventure time, is it not? So take a look at this very quickly from the BBC. So you can see our Walt Disney World reopens in Florida amid am I going to get demonetized? Probably. COVID-19 surge. So, again, I don't know what the Magic Kingdom is, or the Animal Kingdom. I've never been there. But, they open the entire thing. And even though they're having a limited amount of people come in, so they're selling a limited amount of tickets, I mean, this is absolutely preposterous. Look, man, let me explain something to you. Florida alone has somewhere around 250,000 cases. 250,000 cases. Can I put that into perspective of how devastating that is? Look at this over here from the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control. Okay, just take a look at these figures over here. Do you see how many cases there are in Italy? This is from today. Okay, this is the latest figures. Italy and Germany individually, okay, have less cases than the state of Florida. Those are entire countries. Okay, do you remember how badly Italy was doing? They were going through a horrific, horrific time. Just enormous casualties every day. They were really at the epicenter of this thing for a while, and even right now, they have less cases than Florida. And what does Florida do? Oh yeah, let's open Disney World. Right? Great, wonderful. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why are capitalists so sick and just... It doesn't end there, by the way. They also came out with masks. Yes, they are... They made a series of masks. Check this out. Look, with all the characters. So these are the ones made of cloth, I believe, right? They have, oh yeah, you best bet. They have a whole series, man. They got multiple series. These are the cloth masks, right? And they also have hard shell masks, right? So things that look similar. They look similar to the N95 ones where there's kind of like a cone. It's like a hard shell over here for the nose and the mouth. Yeah, with Winnie the Pooh and so. Oh yeah, yes, they have their branding and everything, man. Oh yeah. Here you go. Downtown Disney now selling coronavirus masks with Mickey Mouse, Hulk, and Baby Yoda characters. Isn't that dandy? Isn't that dandy? Look, they got everything. Wow. Beautiful. Pandemic fun for the entire family. You know what's outrageous? The Disney masks sell for $6 each, or 4 for $20. Here's a suggestion. Okay, this is no, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's just a suggestion. Maybe if you're going to risk your clientele's health, and kill them, you should give them masks for free. It's just an idea. It's just a thought. Please don't get offended. I know. I know this is beyond your realm of thinking for now. Maybe, I'm just saying maybe, since you've exploited your workers, it took you, I don't know how many decades to finally give them $15 an hour. I'm sure you can afford some cloth masks, right? you could give them for free and make sure no one dies. It would also be very considerate for the rest of the planet, considering that these people might actually go and travel elsewhere and spread it. Yes. Oh, no, wait, I just remembered. They can't. You know why? Because the European Union and most of the world have actually decided that Americans are barred from entering. Yes, so this took effect, I think, around beginning July, right? Because the European Union were going to decide what to do now, how to lift the travel restrictions. And, they decided that internally within the EU, they would allow some travel to resume to normal, but no one is allowed in from the US because the US never had a lockdown, never had a quarantine, right? So, this is, again, another point where I think it's really important to underline. This is not a single payer healthcare issue. Of course, you need universal healthcare. We're not debating that, but there's no point if you have universal single payer and then you don't do a lockdown, you don't do a quarantine. Okay, why would you put more stress on your own healthcare system, right? Why would you help to exacerbate a global pandemic? The two are separate issues. You need to do both. You need a proper quarantine, proper lockdown, and a universal single payer healthcare system, regardless, because that's a human thing to do. Yes, to have single payer healthcare, free at the point of service, no lifelong debt, no being turned away or out of network. This is unheard of. I don't know what these concepts are. These were foreign to me until just recently. Yes, and they should be foreign to everyone across the globe. Okay, no one should have to deal with lifelong debt, medical debt, being denied healthcare. This is wrong in 2020. We have the resources, we have the money, we have the infrastructure across the entire globe to make sure that it doesn't have to be the case. So that's one thing, okay? And I find it absolutely staggering that people speak of reopening the economy when it was never shut down to begin with. Okay, if you deem gun stores and meat packaging, okay, meat packaging I can understand because food is food, but they lobbed in a wide array of industries into essential businesses that had to remain open, including Amazon, for example, or McDonald's. This is not the case in Europe. You couldn't go to McDonald's. There is no McDonald's. It's closed. Stay the fuck home and don't go outside. It's that simple. But no, they can't do that in the US because, it's really demanding too much. So do you see there never was a proper quarantine. There never was a proper lockdown. And this is just further exacerbating the issue. And this is why the United States has 4% of the world's population, and yet they have a quarter of COVID-19 cases. 25% of the world's coronavirus cases are in the US. 130, 140,000 people dead. Why? Because capitalism is a sickness, right? They were never going to shut down the economy. They can't. They gotta keep making money. It's really a sickness on another level. I mean, and it's not just confined to this pandemic. I mean, even before, when we're talking just right now about healthcare, just the idea that you would commodify healthcare, that you would tie it to your job on top of it. Yes. I mean, it's a system that is meant to enslave people. Really, it's disgusting. And so this culture of capitalism is something completely else, man. In the U.S., it's really, really unbelievable. And they can't even give you masks for free. They have to make a profit off of the masks even. I mean, this is dystopian beyond belief. They're terrifying. I promise you, people are going to look at this. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, motherfucker. Okay, right now. But people are going to look at this in 100 years, in 500 years, and be like, what the fuck was wrong with these people? Okay? This is not okay, man. Look at this again. I'm going to show you this again. Do you think this is okay? That is not okay. Okay? This is not something you should be making money off of. You shouldn't be open. This is not essential. You are just killing people with this. You don't have to do this. It don't have to be this way. Okay, you really don't have to be this way, man. What a ripoff, too. What a ripoff. Come on, man. And you know what's so funny? They didn't even have lasting supplies. Look at this. So the World of Disney store only had about half of the 24 masks that were available online. Okay? So basically, when you're actually out there, when you risk getting infected and infecting others, and you're stupid enough to throw away money at masks in Disneyland, they don't even have all the masks. Can you imagine your kid refusing to wear a mask because you didn't get them their favorite character? Is this really something that we need to do as a human race? Is this really where we're at? Is this really necessary? Please. Please. Stop. Please. Oh my God. It's too much, man. It's too much for me. So Speaking of masks, Donald Trump, who just so happens actually to be the president of the U.S. I don't know if you knew this, but he just so happened to finally wear a mask. Actually, we caught him on video. Yes, out in the wild, he finally put on a mask. Isn't that amazing? Such bravery. Look, let me show you. He was visiting a military hospital, and he finally put on a mask. Like 6 months, 7 months into a pandemic. Finally. Wow, look at him. Look at him. Amazing. Someone in his entourage said it looks like the Reservoir Dogs intro. No, actually, they said it's the most badass thing since Reservoir Dogs. Now look, I'm no acquaintance of Tarantino, but I'm sure that he would beg to differ. Okay. What is so spectacular about this? Like, why do they have to make a giant photo op out of it? He put on a mask. So what? Why is this? This is non-news. But unfortunately, it is news because, the so-called, as they say, the Americans, the leader of the free world, whatever that means, finally decided to put on a mask, right? So apparently it is news. And, I think I encapsulated my sentiment quite adequately in a tweet. Let me show you this tweet, right? On the Twitters. So, indeed. This is what I said. There you go. Only in the United States could wearing a mask during a pandemic become a political position. And indeed that's the case, because it's not just Trump, it's not just Pence. Remember when Pence was visiting the Mayo Clinic and he also cooked up a stink because the idiot refuses to wear a mask? And it's not just them, man. It's what's her name? The white supremacist bitch, Lauren Ingraham or something. And then Tucker Carlson. I mean, all of them talking about this as if there's some kind of political affiliation associated with wearing a mask to prevent yourself from being infected or infecting others, rather. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is unbelievable stupidity. It really is. It's ignorance. I have no... I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. This country that claims to be the most advanced, most civilized, the greatest country in the world, they can't even put on a mask without, whining like a bunch of babies. No, this is unacceptable. This is ridiculous. And it's also funny watching them change their positions, right? Because, Trump, he now, on the way to the military hospital, he says that I've never been against masks. What are you talking about, right? The denial of their ignorance. It's really astounding. Take a look.
Time and a place. Must know. I mean, I'll probably have a mask. I think when you're in a hospital, especially in that particular setting where you're talking to a lot of soldiers and people that in some cases just got off the operating tables, I think it's a great thing to wear a mask. I've never been against masks, but I do believe they have a time and a place.
Yeah, like a pandemic? I think that's a time and a place. You don't seem to agree? No? Damn. Crazy. I could have sworn that, he was not the biggest proponent of masks. Matter of fact, somebody was kind enough to jog my memory. Take a look.
Politically correct. Go ahead. I think it's a great thing to wear a mask. I've never been against masks. I couldn't hear you. Can you take it up because I cannot hear you?
I'll just speak louder, sir.
Oh, okay, good. You want to be politically correct. Go ahead.
No, sir. I just want to wear the mask.
Go ahead.
You hear that, man? Wearing a mask is politically correct. Oh, the travesty. Oh. These Democrats taking away our freedom. What is wrong? What is wrong with these people? Look here. Here she is. The racist cow. Look.
Thing. Those are nice people. Was Chris Cuomo wearing a mask out in the Hamptons the other week? Oh, maybe. Well, by the way, they'll say this whole mask thing is settled science, just like they do with climate change. Of course, it's not. And they know it. Our own experts have gone from...
No, bitch. It's settled science. We know it, but you don't. Oh my God. This is a journalist. She's a broadcaster on national TV. Oh boy. Oh boy. No wonder you're in trouble. Oh no. Oh no.
From masks aren't necessary to masks are essential. You have to wear them when you go jogging in just a few weeks' time. Now, Rush Limbaugh made a great point, as he always does, on the...
No. Rush Limbaugh has never made any good points in the history of points. Be quiet. And of course, I mean, I don't need to show you the clips of Tucker Carlson. You already know what a nut job he is. Jimmy Dore actually did a great video about 2-3 weeks ago talking about Dr. Fauci and how he was lying. You see, they thought that it was a brilliant idea to tell people that masks are not effective. Because I don't know why. There is no because. There should never be a because. Because they were scared the masks were in low supply, right? So they didn't want people going out and buying a bunch of masks and then leaving healthcare providers, doctors, nurses, people who work in medical departments to be left without PPE, right? So they came out and lied and said, yeah, well, the masks are ineffective. Why would you say that? Oh my God. Why would you say that? So now you have a bunch of morons like this who are claiming that it's a political stunt, right? That the Democrats are lying because they changed their position. They flip-flopped. So effectively what you have at the end of the day is a band of idiots who are causing the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people because they are corrupt and they are liars. Yes? It's rather unfortunate. And, what I would highlight, unfortunately, not a lot of people reported on this, but one of the reasons that these masks were in low supply, yes, it's not just because the government failed to stockpile. That's one reason. It's not just because Trump disbanded, the entire team that were responsible for pandemic responses. It's not just that. They were bringing in PPE. I covered this. They were bringing in by the plane load from China, right? And then they would let states engage in bidding wars with each other. So I'm not kidding. You had states within the US bidding against each other about who would receive the medical equipment. And if it just so happens that you had more money than these states, whether you're an individual or I don't know who you're representing, if you had more money, if you were the highest bidder, you got the masks, even if you were outside the US. So, their primary concern wasn't making sure that the United States hospitals, doctors, nurses in the US have enough equipment, PPE. No. It was like, let's see how we can make money. Let the states fight each other for scraps. And if somebody richer comes along, we'll give it to them, even if they're outside the US. So screw the population, screw the doctors, screw the healthcare workers. No, we want to make money. And, this whole racket was being run by Jared Kushner. And I mean, it's insane. It's insane. I can't believe that this did not make national headlines. They were selling the masks off to the highest bidder. I don't understand how no one reported on this. I didn't hear anything. I mean, this is one of the most preposterous rackets I've ever heard of. Really. Selling medical equipment off to the highest bidder during a pandemic. Unbelievable. It's like some dystopian movie. It's crazy. So, that's one of the reasons why these masks were in low supply. And so, instead of telling you to make your own mask, just, take some cloth. It's already going to be way more effective than no mask and no covering. No. They just lied. They said, don't wear a mask. You don't need one. And so now you have this climate within the United States where wearing a mask is suddenly a political position. And this is why most of Europe, most of the world has gone back to normal, more or less, right? Have truly reopened after 1 or 2 months of quarantine and lockdown. Meanwhile, the United States never locked down, never had a quarantine, and now they have 25% of the world's cases, spiking new records every day. And what does Disneyland do? They come along and reopen. I mean, Jesus Christ, this is just This is what an empire in decline looks like. Okay, remember these words. There you go. So I just want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Let me see over here. This is so practical having a goddamn screen now. It's a dream. Thank you. Okay. So Colin, thank you for the super chat. Says the fact that Walt Disney World is open but their corporate offices are closed tells you everything you need to know. Thank you. And that's 3 words. Hashtag profits over people. That's it, man. That is it. That is it. Just like Colin said, the fact that Disney World is open, but the corporate offices are closed tells you everything. These CEOs, these suits, right? These Wall Street types who walk around in their nice $5,000 suits. Oh, they're not coming to work. Oh, they ain't risking getting sick. That's you, the peasantry, right? Let the peasants get the common cold, boy. If a few die off, it's no problem to us. Make a good few quid and bob, yes. This is their mentality, man. We're just sheep to them. We're just sheep. And you have propaganda from ignorant pig shit people like Laura Ingraham. I mean, really, who should be in a goddamn jail cell for being so criminally negligent. That's putting it lightly. Spewing this propaganda, brainwashing people who don't know any better, who blindly trust whatever Fox News or other major news outlet gives them. I mean, this is embarrassing. This is really embarrassing. Truly embarrassing. Progressive Martian, thank you very much for the super chat. Says, I'm in Arizona, the new epicenter. So Florida, as far as I knew, was where you had most cases. I did not know that it's now going to be Arizona. Oh boy. This is not okay, man. This is irresponsible. They just don't care about you. These governors, these politicians, all of them, they're so concerned with keeping the capitalist machine going. They're so preoccupied with the interests of their friends in the private sector that they have no incentive whatsoever. Even public safety does not register as a moral incentive for them to close down the economy. No. Profits over people, always, of course. I mean, to the point where you have hundreds of thousands of people dead. This is absurd. This is absurd. And then you remember you had even people on the so-called left. Yes, these cockroaches, these disgusting vermin like Neera Tanden, using this as an opportunity to attack single-payer healthcare. Where are they now? Crickets. You see, Italy, Germany, all these European countries have now reopened because they were able to deal with the wave. They understood we have to lock down the economy. Yes, they suffered losses, indeed. It's a pandemic. But they're not dealing with, new records of cases 6 months in. This is ignorance and corruption of the highest order. I mean, really, they took you. This entire pandemic is a horror movie from start to finish. I mean, and we haven't even reached the goddamn finish. They didn't tell you about it. You had people insider trading. You remember we covered these disgusting bastards. What was her name? Loeffler, remember? And Barr, the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, going and committing insider trading, using their briefings, their classified briefings on COVID-19 to go and trade on the stock market, sell off their stocks and buy stocks in companies that would profit, like teleconferencing, even PPE manufacturers. And then they didn't even tell their constituents about it. They just kept hush and used it to make a bunch of millions of dollars in profits. Then on top of it, they won't even close down the country properly. They tell you that masks don't work. They just keep non-essential businesses like Amazon and McDonald's open, even though it's killing people. People who did protest, like Chris Smalls, got fired, right? I mean, just obscene. And you had to be quiet if you told people about the pandemic, if you told that one of the coworkers was infected and you had to, better not come into work. Obscene. And then they're using the new wave of PPE supplies to make profits. Jared Kushner using his access to Trump to bring in new supplies from China and then selling them off to the highest bidder, even if they're outside the country. And now they're claiming to reopen when they never even closed the goddamn economy or country down. And it just keeps going. Oh my God. It's a horror story. It really is, man. And on top of it, look at how they capitalize off of this politically, right? They don't have to hold a DNC convention now. Everything is online. You can't protest. You get like 30 seconds to talk if you can even talk. Man. And I haven't even gotten to the treasure trove, those coronavirus packages. They passed 5 of them. Look how they screwed you. They gave you a one-time check. They screwed you. And they give trillions away to the corporations. Even the lobbyists, even Kanye West got small business loan money. And then these progressives come along and claim to be championing workers' rights. Oh my God. Oh, what a horror movie. I will remember this shit. Oh, I'm going to remember. You better fucking remember too. You better tell your kids about this shit. Oh no. Oh. Progressive Martian. Let me continue reading your comments. Says, we had 1 yesterday, 4 the day before that, 0 for 3 days in a row. Yeah, we just got closed down for 30 more days. Well, yes, I mean, it's logarithmic, is it not? It's, the infection rate is exponential. You better close it down, otherwise it multiplies. So again, I'm not too well versed in my in my mathematics anymore, but as far as I can tell, infection rates are exponential. That's why you have to catch it, even if it's a few people, right? Didn't they also just discover it's airborne? Again, man, I'm not I'm not an expert on this, but this is not how to deal with it. You have countries that dealt with this adequately and countries that didn't. Look at the results. There you go. Jean, thank you very much for the $10. Says, thank you for telling the truth. Thank you for supporting the show. Elijah's in the house. Hey. Says, bro, I missed you. We got multiple super chats over here. Hold on. Let me make sure I can read all of these because YouTube is maximizing. Okay. Oh, the revolution talk is coming. You know it. Thank you. I'm glad you like the cover as well. Progressive Martian says, CDC studies show zero benefit to wearer or others. CDC 2015 study says wearing a cloth mask had a 20% higher infection rate than control group. Look, man, let me explain something to you. The whole premise is not that the mask is going to save your life. The premise is that if you are obliged to go out, meaning you are working non-essential profession, then you should wear the mask. Do you understand? The whole premise is that you have a lockdown, yes? And the ones who must go out wear a mask to further protect themselves and others. It's not just, let's not lock down anything and then hope that masks do the job by themselves. It's not enough. You need to have a quarantine, and the ones that are obliged, that really do have to go out and still work during the lockdown, should also wear protective gear on top of it. I think, I don't know how to simplify it any more than that. And, you can, there's a lot of people claiming, the masks, they drop oxygen levels. No, it's not true. You have the same oxygen intake as you do with or without a mask. It makes no difference. Remember, if you're breathing, you're breathing. It's it. And I mean, once again, man, it's people are not seeing that you have a capitalist mindset, this sickness that workers are expendable. This is the issue, right? So a lot of people that didn't have to go to work, that shouldn't have had to go to work, were expendable. They didn't need to go and risk their lives or lives of others. They were given no social safety net. They were obliged to keep on feeding this disgusting machine, and that's the problem. The people who received a social safety net were the corporations. They got trillions in dollars. Meanwhile, the average worker got $1,200 if they even got it. Some people still haven't gotten it. There was no social safety net. There was no way to make sure that businesses were able to stay closed during the pandemic, but not lay off workers, right? To stay operable. No safety net for small businesses. No safety net for the average worker. And they just sent people off to their deaths. This is not a government that cares about you. This is a government that is interested in maintaining a capitalist, unfettered capitalist empire. I mean, look, man, let's be very clear here. All capitalism is based off of the premise that you're exploiting the worker. Okay, that we're not going to sugarcoat it. That's capitalism. But this commodifying healthcare, no social safety nets. I mean, this is something completely different. I mean, Western European countries don't do this. And that's why they don't have, they're reopening properly now because they dealt with this and, they didn't lay off millions of people and leave them with one measly check. I mean, in some countries, people in parliament even gave up their own salaries. Do you see anyone in the U.S. doing that? Do you think Nancy Pelosi or AOC or any of them would give up their salaries for you? Even for a month? No way. No way, man. But they're ready to give trillions to corporations. This is not okay, man. It's not okay. Oh, there you go. Let me get some water, man. Let me get some water. And just, the fact that nurses, I mean, no matter what way you look at this, it's screwed up, man. How are you going to justify to me that it's okay for Jared Kushner to be selling off PPE, meanwhile nurses in New York have to come in to work with, wearing garbage bags? There's no way you can justify that. This government and everyone they're all complicit and criminal and corrupt. Okay, so are you ready for some juicy stuff? You ready for the next batch of criminal behavior? Ah, boy. This shit is gonna blow your mind. I'm not kidding. This next shit, you ain't ready. You ain't ready. By the way, I believe we got a new member on Patreon, Stephen Henderson. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for becoming a Poppy's pal. I'm gonna play Crab Dance, Toot Sweet for you. Just for you. Y'all show some love to Steven.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch. And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch. Cut that bitch off.
Why you texting? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Yo, we also got some donations on PayPal. Mona saying, "Hey Richie, this is because you ignore me in the chat." Just kidding. In the words of Wu-Tang, cream. All right, hold on a second, man. We also got some. I don't know if I can see anything. I feel like there's some messages attached, but I can't read anything because it's showing these weird characters. Ollie, thank you regardless for the lovely donation. But I hope there was no note attached. If there was, I will make sure to read it. Okay, but hold on a second. I want to get to the foreign policy because the next shit that I'm about to show you, man, is unbelievable. This next shit is unbelievable. Okay. Are you ready? Y'all aren't ready. Ooh. So the Israeli ambassador to the UN, he goes on BBC Hard Talk and he does an interview about the annexation, and I don't even know where to begin with this. It's so preposterous. I'm going to play you just about 2 minutes from the clip, okay? And listen to what he says about Israel's right, alleged right to take the land. It's not annexation, according to him. Because you can't annex something that you already own. That's what he said. I'm not kidding. This is the ambassador to the United Nations. Okay, so take a look at this. You are not going to believe this. You can't make this up. Okay, you ready to listen? Here we go.
Well, there are many Israelis who do appear to be confused. A poll just released by the Israel Democracy Organization shows 55% of Israelis no longer believe that annexation is going to happen. And it's clear that the so-called alternate Prime Minister, Benny Gantz, from the Blue and White Party, is saying that he doesn't believe it will or should happen. So there is confusion.
So I will correct you again. I refer it to applying sovereignty. You cannot annex something that belongs to you. When you annex something, you do it from a foreign territory. So I don't know from whom we are annexing it. We did it actually in 1967 in Jerusalem. We applied sovereignty over Jerusalem. In 1981, we applied sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And now there is a discussion, not a decision yet, but a discussion about applying sovereignty over parts of Judea and Samaria. But to your question, we are a strong democracy, one of the strongest democracies.
No. I'm going to stop you right there. Did you hear what he called it? He didn't call it annexation. He said, we applied sovereignty. Wow. Really? That's a new one. I love the double speak. It's nice, right? We applied sovereignty. Yeah, you stole it. You stole it. You stole East Jerusalem. You stole the Golan Heights. They don't belong to you. Like the whole planet agrees that they're not your land. There's multiple UN resolutions about this. It couldn't be more clear. It couldn't be more clear. It's rare to see the whole planet agree on something. And yes, all of them, all of the member states at the UN passed these resolutions in almost complete unison and agreement. The Golan Heights are Syrian. Okay. East Jerusalem does not belong to you. Sinai Peninsula is Egyptian. I mean, and he's like, no, we applied sovereignty. You annexed them. You stole them. And he's like, so I don't know from whom we would be annexing them. Oh, from China, of course, right? You're taking them from the Chinese. Fucker. Like he's never heard of Palestinians. Like, what? Who? Oil? Bitch, you cooking? Just runs out the room. Remember Black Bush? He tried to pull a Black Bush right there. This motherfucker. This is the ambassador to the UN. You know, where they convene and converse based on international agreements and international law. No. Oh no, it gets worse. It gets worse. We're not done.
Democracy in the world. We have a parliament, we have a government, and at the end of the day, the decision will be made by the Israeli government, the elected government, whether we like it or we don't like it. And I want to bring you back to 2005, exactly 15 years ago, when the government decided to pull out from Gaza and to uproot Jewish communities. Many Israelis were not happy about this decision, but once the government reaches a decision, we implement it. This is a democracy.
Mr. Netanyahu's message throughout the election was that if he became prime minister, he would deliver on this promise to, and I'm going to use the word one more time, and we can discuss in a moment whether it's legitimate, but he promised, as far as the international...
So I think it was around 450, right? Yeah, check this out. Listen very well.
And to start to implement it. So any decision that will be made, it will be coordinated with our allies in Washington.
Well, we'll talk at length about your allies in Washington in a moment. But now let's get to your point about legitimacy and the law. You say you reject the word annexation because you cannot annex what is yours. Do you believe in international law, Ambassador?
Absolutely. And I explained to my colleagues in the Security Council about our rights to the land. So it
Greatest of respect, Ambassador, this notion that the land, the occupied West Bank is yours, is not in any accordance with international law as defined by independent jurists right across the world, and you know it.
I beg to differ with you, and I will explain to you. But before we speak about the legal issues, let's speak about the biblical rights that we have to the land. You know,
Hang on. We're talking international law. Why are you introducing the Bible or indeed ancestral history? This is nothing to do. This is nothing to do with the Bible or with ancestral history. This is about international law, and under that law, your notion that this disputed territory that was conquered in war by Israel in 1967, your notion that it is yours simply flouts international law and convention.
So you will have to allow me to explain my point. And I will get to the international law in a minute. But we do have biblical rights to the land. Whether you are Christian, Muslim, or Jew, you read the Bible, you read the stories of the Bible, it's all there.
Is the Bible a legal document, Ambassador?
This is our deed to the land. That's biblical. We have historical rights to the land.
Nothing to do with the law.
I will get to the international law in a minute. We have historical rights to the land. You just need to read the history book. You can go to Rome and to see the Arch of Titus, and you will see evidence for our connection to the land. And now I'm getting to international law. I want to go back to 1917, Balfour Declaration, providing a homeland for a Jewish state in Palestine. Then from 1917, you go to 1920, to the San Remo Conference. Again, Jewish homeland for the Jewish people. And then when you go to the Charter of the UN, for the UN itself, it says specifically that it will adapt any previous agreements. So basically it adapted San Remo Conference. So we do have legal rights to the land.
Frankly, Ambassador, there isn't an independent legal mind in the world who thinks that would stand up in any court of law. But
this is pure malarkey. This is really malarkey, man. Did you hear what he said? He said, the Bible is our deed to the land. Really? Wow. Wow, that's crazy, man. You know, I seem to recall this like really small passage somewhere in the Bible where it says, thou shalt not kill. I don't know if you've heard of it, but you know, you should maybe look into that, you know, since you like kill Palestinians every day. Just saying, right? Just saying. They leave that part out, don't they? So this is very horrifying. This should frighten you, okay? Because this kind of far-right extremist is the person that they send to the United Nations, who's not interested in international law. And, you know, when he finally gets to international law, I love how he says, like, hold on a second. We have biblical rights to the land. I'll get to international law in a second. Like, as if that's some kind of back burner issue. Motherfucker, you work at the UN. What do you mean you'll get to it in a second? Is this guy on crack? You cannot cite the Balfour Declaration as international law and your right to the land. You know why? Because who wrote the Balfour Declaration? Where'd that come from? Here's a clue. It didn't come from Palestinians or Arabs. It came from colonialists, right? The French and the British decided that they would give away land that is not theirs to other people who aren't from this land. So, you know, if you're citing agreements and declarations by colonialists, by imperialists from over 100 years ago, don't look too good for your case, okay? So let's get that straight. That's number one. Now, second of all, the broader implications of what he's saying here show to you that they're not interested in a two-state solution. There is no two-state solution. For them, it's like this, all of this is ours. Right? They have this idea for a greater Israel, which means stretching from the Nile to the Euphrates, right? That's their idea. So you can't negotiate with someone like this. And then it's very ironic because he goes on to say, oh, the Palestinians won't negotiate with us. Yes, because listen to you. You're a far-right extremist. You're a you're a colonialist settler who's coming along, who doesn't care about international law, only when it suits you, right? So he'll claim that, oh, we have sovereignty. The UN gave us sovereignty, but then he doesn't want to listen to the UN resolutions that say the Golan Heights are Syrian, that the West Bank, that, you know, East Jerusalem are not theirs, that the Jordan Valley is not theirs. You know, he cherry picks which international law he wants to listen to, just like Israel has always done. They cherry pick. And they want to have it both ways. They want to have their cake and eat it too, right? Unbelievable. And this just shows you that you have no recourse. You can't negotiate with someone who's convinced that they are religiously or morally superior to you, and that therefore, you deserve to die because, they just want to claim this land based on what it says in the Bible. I can't believe this. This guy works at the UN. This is the ambassador to the UN. This is the kind of person that they're sending, right? This is an embarrassment. This is embarrassing. How do you think, please, let me ask you a question. How do you think that, other nations would react if, I don't know, any Arab country, pick one, said like, well, this is ours because it says so in the Quran. Do you think Israel would be quiet? Do you think America would be quiet? The United States, they would accept this? Do you think anyone else would accept that? But somehow it's okay for them to cite the Bible as some kind of, religious, moral, superior incentive and justification to ethnically cleanse Palestinians, forcibly remove them from their land. No, you can't justify genocide and ethnic cleansing with religion, okay? This is insanity. It's illegal. It's nuts. Jesus. And, he goes on to say another thing. He says later on in the same interview, which is 23 minutes long, he says something that, like, I'm paraphrasing here. He says, I wasn't just the ambassador for Israel to the United Nations. I'm a representative of all Jewish people. Pretty sure you're not, okay? Pretty sure you're not. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of Jews who don't agree with Zionism. Moreover, this would be equally ridiculous if, for example, the ambassador from Saudi Arabia to the UN said, I represent all Muslims. No, you don't. Okay? You definitely don't. This is just insulting. It really is. And, you can't reason with someone like that. These people are not interested. Netanyahu, Danny Donan, and all of them, man. All of these settler colonialists are not interested in a two-state solution. They're not. But they want to convince you that Palestinians can't be talked to, they can't be negotiated with. Yeah, because you depart off of the basis that you are morally, religiously, and ethnically superior to them, and that not to mention that you're committing genocide. That's maybe something you should stop before you expect someone else to negotiate with you. This is, how can you win with someone who's convinced that the Bible gives them the right to ethnically cleanse people? What sort of negotiation? What do you think is going to take place here? What sort of results do you think you will yield from a discussion with someone like that? And you heard him. He's the ambassador to the UN, and he treats international law as some kind of back burner issue. Oh my God, what an embarrassment! He is not just an embarrassment to all other people at the UN, but to the entire institution. This is really. I would be ashamed to send someone like that to the UN. And that's saying something when you look at UN ambassadors from the US. Oh, remember they said Pete Buttigieg might be... Oh, God. You remember that memo that leaked from Joe Biden's campaign saying he might put Pete Buttigieg as the US ambassador to the UN? Oh, my God. Oh, no. They really make a mockery out of this institution, And, if you're reading between the lines, although it's quite explicit, no need. He blatantly, openly claims and says that, we will decide this on our own. The government will decide this. And we will confer with our allies in Washington, D.C., right? Which, once again, underlines the fact that this is an imperialist, white supremacist project, right? That's what it's all about, man. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. Okay? I don't even know if this guy's actually religious. I don't even know. I don't even know, man. But, these arguments, this is what Palestinians have to deal with. So apparently it's okay to use white phosphorus. It's okay to annex people's land as long as it's okay to kill Palestinians, to put them under siege warfare, starve them, control their electricity and water, put them under a curfew, their entire fucking lives. As long as you say, we applied sovereignty over the land, right? And as long as you have a deed, a biblical deed, right, to the land, then you're good. Unbelievable, man. The brazen arrogance of it all, right? And just like Norman Finkelstein said, Israel is really the only nation in modern history that is committing genocide with zero consequences. Absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So I'm just reading your comments real quick. It's nice to have this whole panel over here. It's good. It's really good. MashaAllah. Wow. Beautiful. So yeah. I also think they were hoping that the world is distracted enough by COVID to pull this off, you know. Anyway, something else that I wanted to address before we get into any questions that you might have. This is quite amusing over here. So this is really amusing. So, as you may have heard, Donald Trump, he commuted Roger Stone's sentence. So I think he was sentenced in early February this year, right? So he only served a few months in jail, and then he was let out because of the pandemic. So, you know, under house arrest. Very, very amusing, right? Everyone is allowed house arrest except Julian Assange. Anyway, they let him go. He's free now, right? And if you remember, this was a result of the Mueller report, this giant palava, you know, this giant report, this book full of verbal diarrhea that Robert Mueller wrote. Oh God, that hearing was horrendous. 7 hours I had to watch that. So, you know, they convicted him for lying, essentially, for lying under oath. He claimed that he had contact with WikiLeaks when he never had contact with WikiLeaks. Yet he's still guilty of communicating with WikiLeaks. This is the mental gymnastics of the Russiagators, right? They know that he lied, but he still did it. What? No, man, the guy lied just to seem important. You know, he lied just to advance his own career. That's it. He's a liar. WikiLeaks had nothing to do with the emails being hacked. Again, I don't even know why they use that word, because, you know, John Podesta had such a weak password that it didn't exactly require much effort. So that's a whole other issue. Anyway, Donald Trump commuted a sentence yesterday, and, you know, he's free to go. And you know, Mueller comes out of the woodwork, this old fart, and he writes an article in the Washington Post, okay? And he lays into Trump because, as you know, he was nothing but an objective actor thus far. And so, you know, he's very angry that Roger Stone was released, and, you know, he starts bringing up the whole sludge from Russiagate, and it's just so comical. I mean, right in the middle of the goddamn article, they just lay it out and keep the lie going. Take a look. Okay, this is in the Washington Post from Mueller himself. Right? Look at this, man. Oh, so, God, that slogan deserves to die in darkness. I mean, really, these people who lie about every single word that comes their way. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, here you can see the headline, very sensationalist, very, very catchy. Robert Mueller, Roger Stone remains a convicted felon, and rightly so. And then, yeah, he goes through the whole thing, right? Goes through the whole thing, the whole palava. And then we get to this line, okay? We did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government in its activities. Okay, so why don't you, like, shut the fuck up or something, huh? Deal? Good? You know, since you just said you didn't establish a connection, so what's going on here? No. Yes, keep going. Look, I'm reading again. So they say, we also identified numerous links between the Russian government and the Trump campaign personnel, Roger Stone among them, right? However, we did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government in its activities. And then the next line says, the investigation did, however, establish that the Russian government perceived it would benefit from a Trump presidency and worked to secure that outcome. Those are two completely different things. Those are not the same thing. Okay? If Russia or Mongolia or, I don't know, Chile or Belgium perceive that Trump would be advantageous to their national and foreign interests is one thing. And Trump's campaign collaborating with the Belgian government or whichever other government is another. These are two completely different things. And so despite telling you we couldn't prove it, we don't have proof that Trump and his campaign worked with Russia, they still keep the lie going. And they've been using this neo-McCarthyist bullshit for the last 3 years to go after everybody. Oh yes, even you. You open your mouth about Hillary Clinton, you're a Russian. We know it. We caught you, man. We caught you. You were playing Counter-Strike on a Russian server. We know. You're working for the Kremlin. You open your mouth about anyone in the Democratic Party, Putin puppet. We caught you eating borscht the other day. We saw you. We got photographs. That's it. It's the tool, right? They just whip it out anytime they want to silence someone. Russiagate. Putin puppet. Oh, a sadist. That's it. That's all it is, man. So they've concocted this whole fairy tale nonsense. And you know, Rachel Maddow, you know all this nonsense. This is not news to you. Any real journalist worth their fucking salt. I'm talking real journalists. You know, like Aaron Matei, Glenn Greenwald, everybody at the Grayzone, Jimmy Dore. They've been disproving this shit since day one. Since day fucking one, they saw right through it. All right? Meanwhile, the rest of the sheep who blindly follow this neoliberal nonsense, who still think that, you know, the Democrats are leftists and, Orange Cheeto Man bad. Yeah, of course. You know, they keep the myth going, man. They have to buy into this because, you know, if they can keep repeating Moscow Mitch enough times to themselves, then they can bury their heads in the sand and avoid seeing the United States for what it really is, which is a one-party system, right? It's good. They want to feel good. They want to feel like they're a part of something, right? So they have to keep this myth going. They have to attribute Hillary's catastrophic loss in 2016 to the Russians, right? It's the old go-to, man. It's the old xenophobic tool, right? Just whip it out. Oh, it's the Russians. All the evil in the world, it's the Russians, man. Those Russians. It's not Hillary Clinton, who is, you know, a disastrous, corrupt politician, a disgusting witch, a war criminal. No. It's not people who are tired of neoliberal policies for the last 40 years, outsourcing their jobs, screwing them over, no wage increases. No. It's Russia, of course. It's always Russia. Russia. Unfucking believable. This is a sickness. It's an obsession, man. Oh no. Look, they just can't stop. And of course, we saw the latest iteration of this just last week with Bountygate, right? Which also fell through. And I can't remember who it is, but someone, I mean, this is absolutely genius. There really is a method to the madness. They have like a 72-hour cycle. Then, like, they'll come up with a brand new allegation that Russia did something, right? And then they'll sensationalize the shit out of it in the New York Times and the Washington Post. You know, it'll do the rounds, front page, everywhere. And then within 72 hours, it's gone. It dies down, right? Once the wind is knocked out of the sails, silence. And then it goes to page 19, which Aaron Matei so eloquently pointed out. Yeah, Bountygate, front page news, and then 3 days later, it's on page 19. It's unbelievable, really. I mean, these people call themselves journalists. They think that they are still, you know, some kind of proud, objective, well-established institutions that only do good work and report nothing but straight fact, right? And if they lie about something like the Iraq War, like WMDs, well, it's okay. You know, they can print an apology 4 months later and say, we weren't as vigilant. You know, and if Russiagate, you know, they finally own up to it. Well, it's okay. You know, we'll pay attention next time or something. You know, no biggie. It's okay. Yes. Welcome to the mass media, the corporate news media. I mean, what a disgusting bunch of dogs, really. They should all be sent to Nuremberg for their willing, their willingness to participate in war crimes, to make the case for war. Every single time there's a war, every single time, not just with Iraq, every single time there is a bombing campaign, they are there to sell the war. They should all be tried for war crimes, these fucking vermin. They really should. I mean, you should learn to look at these bastards no differently than you would look at Joseph Goebbels, right? propaganda minister for the Germans. Exact same brand of scum. That's it. They have no interest but to sell you war so they can keep this relationship between the government and the private sector going and making, ballooning profits and maintaining an imperialist agenda and this U.S. hegemony across the globe. They are no different than Nazi propagandists. No fucking different. Their job is to sell you wars. They should be fucking hanged as war criminals. This is serious shit. People die because of this shit. Okay? And Russiagate, I mean, this is, just one iteration of the propaganda. What a hunk of nonsense and garbage. It's absolutely... I'm speechless. Once again, let me read it to you, man, because they're going to keep banging this drum till the end of days. Look, we did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government in its activities. Well, then you got no case, do you, dummy, right? You might have to find something else to oppose Trump on. I don't know. Moving the embassy to Jerusalem. I don't know. Recognizing the Golan Heights as Israeli. I don't know. The bloated military budget, right? You just passed the second one, $700+ billion. Selling $300 billion worth of weapons to Saudi Arabia so they can commit genocide in Yemen. I don't know, man. You got so many things. The emoluments clause. No, none of those. Oh, that's right. Because then you'd have to go after everybody, including the neoliberals. Can't do that. Ooh. So this comes back down to the charade, the facade that the Democrats engage in, right? They have to create these fake differences to mark themselves from the Republicans, right? To create this fake contrast between the parties so that you are duped into voting for one of the two, right? Because otherwise the jig's up. Otherwise it becomes very clear that they're all playing on the same team. And it is so abysmally clear. I mean, I really pity people who can't see that. And so this is one of the, this is one of the propaganda tools that they use to create these false differences between the parties and dupe you. Journalistic malpractice is an understatement. This is propaganda. So there you go, man. And what's absolutely unbelievable is that if you look at the way that they publish this nonsense. I mean, with Donald Trump, okay, they're going to come along and tell you that Donald Trump built the cages, right? But Donald Trump is putting kids in cages. They don't tell you that Obama built them. They'll come along and say that Donald Trump, he's cozying up to Israel, but they won't tell you that Joe Biden and Barack Obama approved, they gave Israel that $3.8 billion a year. That's them who set that up. They were receiving aid before, but nonetheless, that's what this latest package is from them. They'll never expose the cooperation, the cohesion between the parties. Can't do that. Scum, really. So, Good Poon hates cops. I like this name. Just sign up on Patreon. Thank you so much. Let me just get the crab dance going for you. 1 second. I'm just hitting out a recording over here. Give me 1 second. There we go. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Good Poon hates cops. I really appreciate it.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line. Claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch. Cut that bitch off.
Why you texting? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Thank you very much. I got your message about the Rockfin. I see what you're saying, man. Let me look into that. Because we wanted to get the live stream going everywhere. So I can take care of that. There's one more point that I want to add about this Russiagate crap that I can't. I actually hate dedicating any amount of time to this stuff because it is so egregious and just. It's exhausting. It really is, man. You know, I'm all for debunking the lies by the mainstream media, but you know, Russiagate. I mean, every month they come up with a brand new one, with a brand new iteration of it, and it's fundamentally the same game, but you know, apparently no one can see through it. I don't know. But remember, Orange Cheeto Man bad, so you better vote for Biden, the other war criminal, because he's so much better, right? Oh, he's so much better. You know what's really astounding? You know what's really crazy? Oh yeah, I know what I wanted to say now. Yeah, as if it's like a side point. No, seriously, pay attention, man. You know what's absolutely astounding is that they will talk about how Russia allegedly interfered in the elections, right? They won't talk about how the United States does the exact same thing to every other nation on Earth, even their allies, right? Even their allies. They will spy, they will conspire, they will commit, election interference against even their allies. Go read the Vault 7 memos. You will see that, they had an entire consulate, where is this, in Munich, dedicated to just bringing in people posing as U.S. diplomats, and then it was just an entire spy station dedicated to IT, hoarding 0 days, and you remember when they got caught also bugging Angela Merkel's phone, the German chancellor? I mean, for the United States, after committing bloody regime change and election interference and overthrowing democratically elected governments across the entire goddamn planet, to now come along and cry about Russia allegedly interfering in the elections. I mean, this is the highest order of hypocrisy. I mean, they know no bounds. They have no shame. They really don't. They have no shame. Like, while they're doing it, while they're trying to topple Maduro, while they're trying to topple Assad, while they're trying to topple democratically elected governments in other countries, they will whine about someone interfering in their elections when they actually didn't. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Really. This is why it's so important for people to learn their history, man. I think if the average American knew, if the average U.S. citizen actually knew what their country's gotten up to, just in Latin America, just Latin America alone, right? Just Central America and Latin America alone. I haven't even gotten to the Middle East, okay, or Southeast Asia, or Europe. They would lose it. They would lose it, okay? But then once again, this is part of the brilliance. I don't want to call it that. It's more like malicious, conniving, scheming. Okay, this is part of the scheming of the United States, right? They will create these international bodies. For example, the Organization of American States, fund it, and then exert enormous amounts of influence over the entire thing, portray it as being some kind of democratically governed unison of multiple nation states, and then they will come in and actually use it as a vehicle to topple and overthrow governments that are actually part of that organization, just like they did with Morales, right? They used the OAS to claim that he committed election fraud, and the New York Times, just like with Russiagate, just like with Bountygate, they go along with it. Right? Because they're being fed the propaganda from the intelligence agencies directly. And these are not real journalists. They're propagandists. They are either willingly complying or they are too stupid to tell the difference. Either way, they should not be allowed anywhere near a computer or a pen. And so they go along with that and propagate the nonsense and then come back a few months later, just like they did with the Iraq War. They did the same thing with Morales, right? Did a video on it a month ago. They come along and say, oh, well, we crunched the numbers and turns out like Morales didn't rig the election. Oops. Why are you reporting this then? Either you are lying on purpose or you are incompetent. perform a stop it and get the fuck out, okay? These dirty bastards, they are really imperialist vermin. Nothing but imperialist vermin. They willingly participate in the killing, in the destruction, the destabilization of countries with fucking human beings who have lives, experiences, families, friends. They destroy their lives and their countries and their livelihoods, and they're like, oops. No, not oops, motherfucker. And so for the United States to come along and talk about regime change and, election interference, I mean, please shut the fuck up. You are the last to talk about this. Shut the fuck up. Fuck off. Seriously. What, you want to sugarcoat it? You want to even mince words? Fuck out of here. So, let me get some water, man. Or whatever. I'm thirsty. Oh, and this crook over here. Look at this. Look at this. This pathetic windbag. Okay, this cockroach, George Conway, who is part of this Lincoln project, right? Where they try to whitewash neocons like Dick Cheney and then claim that they're the resistance against Big Bad Orange Cheeto Man, right? The whitewashing neocon club. So this cockroach over here, this parasite, he comes in and says, I'm not sure there has ever been a more openly, brazenly corrupt act committed by a president of the United States. He's referring to Donald Trump pardoning Roger Stone, right? Oh yeah, man, this is the worst thing that a president has ever done. Not George Bush lying about WMDs and destabilizing the Middle East to this very day, or, Barack Obama going and toppling governments in Libya and then bombing Somalia and then sending more troops to Afghanistan and then bombing the crap out of Syria and destroying, turning 2 wars into 7. No, not that. Those are okay, right? Oh, that's fine, man. That's okay. Or not, Reagan or any of the other imperialist scum during the Cold War, setting the whole planet on fire to contain communism. No, not that, man. No. This. Donald Trump pardoning Roger Stone. That's the worst thing an American president has ever done. Certified. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. It's the worst thing. 100%. 100%. Not murdering people in the global south. Or destabilizing the planet. No. It's pardoning Roger Stone. Yes. This is the most corrupt thing ever. Fuck you and fuck the resistance, okay? Also, I'm really offended that they would co-opt this term. Let me get something very straight with you. When you hear the resistance, I want you to think of al-Muqawamah, okay? I want you to think of Iran, Syria, Lebanon, who are opposing neocons. That's what the resistance is. Don't let them co-opt that term. It's not their term, okay? Fuck out of here. The only two things you should think of is the French resistance in World War II and the current resistance right now. Okay, the axis of resistance. Right. This is an official, defense pact. This is an official agreement to fight imperialism, colonialism, to fight neocon scum like Dick Cheney, like George Bush, all of them, Obama, the U.S. empire. That's what the resistance is. Not this crap, this Russiagate nonsense or whitewashing war criminals. No, that's disgusting. Don't let them co-opt that term. So there you go. Let me see. Steve Jacob, thank you for the super chat. It says TYT just moved the goalposts. Look, man, I don't even know what TYT are doing, honestly. I mean, I don't think they ever challenged Russiagate, did they? Whatever. They want to go along with that. Okay. They want to go along with that nonsense. I mean, out of all the things that mainstream media lie about, Russiagate is... I mean, I wouldn't compare it to lying about weapons of mass destruction. I think that is a complete, that is a league in of itself, right? When you're lying about other countries so you can make the case for war, so you can do the propaganda for the military-industrial complex. Oh, this is, I mean, straight to Gulag. Just send them to Nuremberg right away. Russiagate is still dangerous, however, because it contributes to this toxic climate of we are going to silence dissent, even on the so-called left, because if you open your mouth, you're clearly a Russian agent. What? You call that a democracy? You call that free speech? All right. All right, whatever. So thank you very much for the super chat. Florence says, excellent work as always. Thank you. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Anna, thank you so much for the super chat. Again, I'm reading this off of my phone because I haven't figured out how to get it over here yet. Anna says, right now, I should be leaving the Progressive Comedy Tour with Ron and Graham in Milwaukee. Oh, yes. I saw on Instagram. They're back on the road in preparation for a week of DNC convention protests. If no pandemic, what do you think would be happening right now? And will we even hear about the Green Convention? Well, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. If there were no pandemic, I would be going to the DNC convention. Okay? To cover it, of course. Right? Do you think they'd let me in from the Kremlin? No, I don't think they would even let me in. I'm honestly scared to go, man. You know, they're not exactly fans of journalists. So, I would try it. I would try to though, and I think there would be lots of protests. Oh yeah. At the same time, though, people did get mad in 2016. You remember Nevada, for example? Did you watch the video from the caucus there? People were pissed. Oh yeah. You remember every time DBS came on, they started booing her. People were furious, rightfully so. But yeah, there was. Man, you need another level. Like the kind of protests you're seeing right now, you need that till every one of your demands is met. Racial equality, transparent, real elections. None of this rigging bullshit. A real left, a real party for the left. There's so many things, and I'm really worried because you can tell from the press they're actually covering the protests less and less. And when they do cover the protests, okay, look, pay attention. Let me explain this to you, man, real quick. David, thank you so much for the super chat. It says, ridiculous, devalued third world love. I appreciate it nonetheless. We are the third world, baby. It's actually a good term originally. It meant the countries who are following the non-alignment pact. Yes, who don't want to be part of Soviet or U.S. hegemony. So anyway, just let me explain something real quick, man. You got to be very careful right now because, the media are covering the protests less and less. Okay? Remember, these are the cronies, these are the tools, they do the dirty work for the establishment. They have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo. They're not interested in getting equality for African Americans. They're not interested in defunding the police. Remember when the CNN building was under attack? Who was protecting the CNN building? They have no interest in changing the status quo. So they're covering it less and less, right? I don't think they even covered it properly in the first place because not only were they not showing the full extent of police brutality, but on top of it, they tried to portray everyone protesting as looters and rioters, trying to delegitimize, discredit the Black Lives Matter movement and just everybody protesting for racial equality. Okay. So that's that. But now they're trying to cover it less and less. And what you see happening a lot when they cover it, pay attention. What they're doing is that they're not covering real issues. They're not showing you, look, LA City Council defunded the police. This is great. We should be doing this all over the country. Why aren't we doing this? I covered it on this channel. Did you see it? Did you see them cover that much? No, but they will show you the Minneapolis 3rd Precinct burning because that way they can show you that, oh, look, they're violent. Yeah, they should be, motherfucker. Anyway, the point is right now, when they do cover the protests, what do they show you? They show you the platitudes, right? They'll show you like, oh, look, they painted a street in front of Trump Towers. Ha ha ha. Now they're going after a big bad orange Cheeto man. Motherfucker, no one cares about what they painted on the street. Defund the police. Defund the police. And then they tell you stuff like, oh, look, they changed the street sign or the street name, or, Bill de Blasio goes and does a fucking conference about platitude, verbal diarrhea. We're not interested. Defund the police. Where are these resources going? There needs to be very concrete, very clear, distinct demands that are being met here. They're not interested. They're not interested because these politicians, especially de Blasio, speaking of him, he's beholden to the police unions. He's too scared. And when they do anything, it's all platitude salads, right? Oh yeah, they'll do like a little, some great examples. Some great examples that Glenn Greenwald mentioned the other day on his video about how Congress helps the U.S. empire keep going. They'll paint the White House in pride colors, or for example, they'll do a Women's Day celebration of all their CIA operatives. But they keep the fucking killing going. They keep the wars and the empire going, which is in direct contradiction of everything that progressives, everything that socialists want, which is what? Equality, fair wages, representation in government. Do you understand? So they give you these little platitudes to demark themselves and pretend that they're in opposition to the Republicans and that they're better. And, it's never concrete action, though. It's never real results. And so the media, they're trying to do this now, right? So when they'll try to delegitimize Black Lives Matter, they delegitimize the protests, and then afterwards, when they do positive coverage, it's just platitudes. It's not the real stuff, like the real meat, taking the money out of the police departments and the unions and giving it to, unarmed, non-violent community social responders when we're dealing with non-violent crime, right? Which is what LA City Council did. So taking the money out of the police and giving it to responders that are social workers, that are maybe medics, who knows? But they're not coming in with a badge and a gun ready to kill you because of some argument or a quarrel or a counterfeit bill. This is lunacy. This is, right? So they won't cover that. The media won't address that. They have a vested interest in maintaining the current power structures, the status quo. And this is very fucking concerning. This is very concerning. So that's why I say that I really hope that the protests and the intensity, the potency of them don't fizzle out until every single one of the demands is met. It should go beyond racial equality. It should be, Medicare for all, UBI, reforming the criminal justice system, the prison and putting an end to the prison industrial complex. There should be no such thing as private prisons. Every single one of these things should be met, because they're all connected. This is how you get real liberation. And man, the military industrial complex, 60% of your budget goes towards bombing people. Why? 60% of the federal budget, again, correct me if I'm wrong, even if it was 10%, you have no business bombing people in other countries. I don't care if it's 1% of your federal budget. But for it to be 60% is even more egregious and even more revolting. All right, that's money that could be building hospitals, could be building schools, could be going back to disenfranchised communities, people that were terrorized by the war on drugs, people that had their livelihoods destroyed by this pandemic. That no. It's going to aircraft carriers, 800 military bases, bombing people. You got to fix it, man. It's we're all affected by this. Not to mention, another aspect of the military-industrial complex that has come back to haunt and bite people in the ass in the United States is the paramilitarized police forces. The police, they've always maintained a dominant relationship instead of a subservient relationship, which is what they should be doing. They should be serving, protecting. They say it on their badge. Instead of doing that, they've always been dominating and playing God, cowboy in their communities. But on top of it, they've been buying armored personnel carriers. They've been buying tear gas. They've been buying rubber bullets. They've been buying, armored Jeeps and Humvees, things that you see on a battlefield. And who's making that money? Who do you think is making that money? The military-industrial complex. And so they've been storing those toys, right? They've been storing them and waiting for them, and now they're coming out to play with them. This is another issue of the military-industrial complex. Same manufacturers, same lobbyists, same people. Follow the money. I think you get my point. So there you go. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Says, good shows and information. Compa. I think it's compadre, right? I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Yeah, and man, you know, a real cancer is leftists that are like complicit with imperialism. Oh, this is like the lowest of the low. You know, this is a direct juxtaposition. It's a direct contradiction in my view, right? So anyway, guys, I would definitely implore you to please support the show if you can. We have a multitude of ways to do that. If you'd be so kind enough, you could just go ahead and join up on Patreon. I believe I have to correct that. How far along are we right now? I think 278. Oh my God, that's amazing. 278. Let me double check, man. 279. Whoa. We are only 21 members away from hitting 300. And you know what that means, man? That means you all getting a brand new crab dance. So definitely go ahead, join up on Patreon if you can, and you'll be really supporting the show. And let me pull that up for you. This is so neat being able to do everything over here. Wow, beautiful. All right, so just go ahead. Links are in the live chat. And you can pick whatever you want, man. You can pick whatever you want. $2, $5. If you go all the way to the bottom, just scroll to the bottom. You can put in a custom amount. I really, really, really appreciate it. When we get to the 300 mark, that would be amazing. Amazing. And other than that, just whip out your... now you can hear me. Perfect. Yeah, just whip out your phone and scan the QR code with the camera app and be good to go. And that's it, man. And you know, once again, please definitely go and join on Rockfin because Rockfin is free. If you want to support, you definitely can. That would be very, very, very much appreciated. And the reason I implore you to do so is because you're going to get all the foreign policy stuff, right? Because YouTube is actively censoring. So, you know, there's a lot of foreign policy stuff that's going over here. Okay? I mean, just look at it. I don't even know if I can read the titles because it might get us demonetized. But you know, they tried to demonetize the channel last week, and so yeah, just go sign up for free. Just go and hit sign up over here, and then hit follow for free. And if you want to support, you can with the red button. All right, but definitely don't miss any of the foreign policy. I can't upload it on YouTube; you'll miss it, and I don't want you to miss it. It's important news. And oh yeah, there's another thing I wanted to show you, which is very amusing. I got an answer from YouTube, by the way. Hold on, check this out. Where is this? They finally answered me. Yeah, here we go. Look at that. They said, update. We heard back from the team. It was confirmed that this was a mistake. Oh yeah, it was a mistake, huh? During the review process, and your channel is back up now. We're sorry this happened and appreciate your patience while we looked into this. Nah. Y'all can pay me. Y'all can pay me if you appreciate my patience. What kind of a corporate copy paste response is this? Are they kidding, man? Like they just turn off the tap on your livelihood, and it's not just the revenue. I explained this to you, that if you're removed from the partner program, they stop recommending your channel and your videos. So they essentially tank and throttle the traffic going to your videos. And then they come back like a week later. I told you the channel got remonetized. I discovered that by accident because I logged in I was logging in every day, and then on the 4th, 5th day, I see like the yellow dollar signs are back. And I was like, what? They didn't send me no email. They didn't send me nothing. And now they give me this tweet yesterday, like a week late. Mistake. Yes, I'm sure. Yes. Because as we know, YouTube are true friends and allies of journalists. Of course. Cool. Yeah. Of course I buy it. So let me just make sure I didn't miss nobody's donations. Anthony, thank you so much. banana emoji says, I accidentally exposed our supposed progressive contender in Michigan who lost the primary to Gretchen Whitmer as a Fauci apologist and a Dore hater today. Okay, anybody who hates Jimmy Dore, you know they're full of shit, because Jimmy Dore is always right, man. If he's calling people out on their bullshit, you know that he's right on the mark. He's right on the money, as they say. And the only people I see going after Jimmy Dore are people who are neoliberals, who are imperialists, and who are defending pieces of shit who call themselves progressive and are actually, once again, crypto neolibs. So good job on that. Okay, and I hope to get Jimmy Dore on the show soon, because total fangirl. Okay, I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not gonna hide it. I'm a fangirl. So look, again, Ollie, thank you so much for the super chat. I don't see a note attached, so I don't know if this is PayPal just bugging or something. I don't see anything. PayPal being weird, man. You already know, like, you can't put SYRIA or Iran or Palestine or any of these words, because, like, how dare you say your country's name? You can't put those into a note on PayPal, because otherwise they'll withhold the payment, and then, like, I don't know, sometimes for weeks. I'm not kidding. This happened. So yeah, you got to watch out with them, man. You got to watch out. And as Charlie Murphy would say, my forehead is bumping, man. I need some water. Like, seriously. I was watching some really interesting stuff. Political theory. You're a junkie if you watch this stuff to fall asleep. So look, I was watching something about Gaddafi. First of all, the Green Book. Okay, what I think of when I think of the Green Book, it reminds me a bit of Napoleon's Le Code Civil, right? So he wrote a little handbook, essentially, like a little guide on how to run the country. Many of those laws are still in effect, by the way. Unfortunately, he's a piece of shit who brought back slavery. France was actually the first country in history to ban slavery, at least in the Western powers. And then, the motherfucker brings it back. Like, yes, there are ways to actually uncivilize yourself. And so, unfortunately, Napoleon is revered still to this day in France for a lot of things. I wouldn't exactly call someone who re-legalizes slavery worth revering. That's that. But nonetheless, this is the handbook that he wrote, Le Code Civil. It's a lot of those laws are still in place today in France. And when you look at the Green Book, which is what Gaddafi wrote, it reminds me a bit of that as well. It's a kind of like it's a political theory on how to run the country, essentially, best suited for Libya, right? So that was his idea, and you would have a different style of democracy. So instead of having a representative democracy, you'd have because remember, Libya is not. You can't compare 100% to Syria, for example. It's a lot more tribal. It's a much larger country as well. So it requires its own style of governing, definitely. And so, Gaddafi's idea was that instead of having a representative democracy where you would elect a congressperson or a senator to go and advocate on your behalf, you would have a more direct governing system where actually the population, the citizens themselves, are governing, right? So, without getting into too much detail, I think it's brilliant stuff. I mean, you got to remember something, man. In 2010, 2011, so right before they toppled and assassinated him. Let me drink 1 second. Oh. So right before they got rid of him. What they did actually is they really took a thriving nation. You got to remember that at this time in 2010, 2011, Libya had enormous amounts of wealth from their oil reserves, but not just that. the way that it was being distributed. I mean, man, you had free housing. You're getting a check from the government. They had UBI, once, a form of UBI essentially. The highest human development index in all of Africa. They really took the most prosperous nation in the continent and destroyed it. Obama, Biden, Hillary. And what did they do? They brought back slavery. I mean, this is these people really belong at Nuremberg. It's just. So give me a second to check check Streamlabs. Now I know what's been going on. I get it. Don't worry. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. I think that's what's been happening. That's why I couldn't read the notes that y'all been sending. Okay, so I thought that was already the case. I don't know, man. It ain't showing, because otherwise I'd have to restart the stream. It's weird. I'm gonna have a crackhead tech session. Let me see. Wow, this is so cool having this pop-up chat over here. I can see everything. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so we got Streamlabs over here. Wow. I see them now. Okay. That's dope. Okay. Poon1312. I got you. That's crazy. You messaged me like at the same second I was reading your your PayPal. Thank you. It says revolution talk is porn. You know it. That's why we're here, man. Cops are class traitors. Thank you for the donation. Says, I motherfucking love your doomer anti-imperialist rants, Habibi. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. That's really dope. I'm just making sure I didn't miss. Is it 2 people? I just missed 2 people. Is that it? I hope I didn't miss anybody else, because that's all it's showing me, man. All right, hold on a second. Oh God. Yeah, I saw that. Like, basically, yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I'm reading all of your comments. I'm trying to like answer 15 things at once. Calm down. David, thank you for the super chat. It says, dedicate or subjugate? Word. But give me 1 second, because I'm trying to open the story that Brokerl Media sent me. So yeah, OAT says Richie's on a Biden level of confusion right now. I am. It's been a long day. But I wanted to tell you about another story real quick. Okay, I want to tell you about a real story that this is about ICE. Okay. Oh God. Never ever open an article from the Daily Mail. So check this out. Are you ready for some like dystopian crap? More dystopian crap? Check this out. So, ICE, okay, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which by the way was created under Bush, right? If I recall correctly, 2003, or was it 2005? Bush created it, and then Obama built the cages, and Trump kept it going, and then he instituted this family separation thing. Once again, they're all the same. And so now what they're doing is, what ICE is doing is they're offering courses on how to arrest illegal immigrants, which seems a bit weird because, what are you going to arrest 320 million people? How does that work exactly? I mean, come on, like I really have an issue with this when colonialist settlers come along and then claim that, this is ours 100% through and through. No, it's not. No, it's not. And so this is, but this is all the more dystopian. Just take a look. The U.S. So ICE, okay, ICE is set to launch a 6-week Citizens Academy course on immigration enforcement, which will include training for citizens on how to arrest undocumented immigrants. So do you understand the issue here? This is not training for the thugs in uniform at ICE. No. This is for private citizens, right? So it's like essentially, well, the first thing that pops in my mind is how the Hitler Jugend, right? The Hitler Youth, they would be taught to rat on their parents if they said anything bad about the Nazis at home. This is what it reminds me of. The first thing that popped into my head. Really? This is like some totalitarian dystopian shit. Seriously. So it's a 6-week. Okay, look at this. It's 6 days of training over a 6-week period starting in September. Now, I don't even know how you can train anyone to do anything properly in 6 days. But the whole premise of this is beyond disgusting. Look at this, man. Included in the course would be training in, quote, defensive tactics, firearms familiarization, and targeted arrests. The training would be scenario based, okay? Adding that exercises would be conducted in a safe and positive environment. How is any of this positive? Can someone explain that to me? Also, why are citizens being allowed or to use firearms? I mean, there's so much wrong with this. There's so much wrong with this. Do you know that Nancy Pelosi, when they were giving Trump this giant budget to take care of the migrants at the border who were being locked up in cages, all of the kids, instead of actually making him fight for it, instead of putting in concessions, right, that you actually have to use this money to help them because they weren't being clothed properly, they weren't being fed properly, they weren't even being given proper sanitation, no toothpaste, no soap, nothing. Instead of putting in these requirements, they just gave them the money, man, with no strings attached. And this is what they use that money for. Okay, this is where it comes from. This kind of shit is approved by Democrats. I just wanted to put that in there. Okay? I just wanted to make sure that was well understood. And I find this absolutely insulting that at a time when people are protesting against police brutality, against these inhumane practices of locking up people who, okay, they may happen to be in the country illegally, but they've been paying taxes, they've been working, they never committed a crime, they've been there for decades, and they're treating them like cattle, right? With these racist, xenophobic, targeted practices. Instead of giving them a pathway to citizenship in a country that they have contributed to, right? Like you can't say anything bad about them. They're doing this, right? Instead of defunding the cops, instead of defunding this crap, no. Let's use the money to train everyone now, even private citizens. Let's get them in on the oppression. Come on, everybody. What the fuck is this? There's something inherently wrong with this. Oh no. Also, you want to hear the biggest joke in this entire article? Like other law enforcement agencies' academies, there's often a unit in self-defense and de-escalation. Yeah, that's great, man. You know, their idea of de-escalation is shooting an unarmed black person in the back while they're running away from you, right? So not only do they not pose a threat, they're actually leaving. They're running away from you. I feared for my life. The fucking mental gymnastics is unbelievable. Look at this. More jokes. Additionally, ICE wants to show the humanitarian efforts and due process that is behind every targeted immigration arrest. No, man. No. This is absurd. This is absurd. We're not talking about someone who, you know, is overstaying their vacation or something. They're targeting people of color who've been there for their entire lives in some cases, and they've been paying taxes and they've never committed a crime. And they're arresting them like Gestapo. You know, they're coming in with armored personnel carriers. They're coming in with armored vehicles with guns, like as if these people are violent criminals or drug lords or something that warrants such a militarized, disproportionate response. That's the issue. And then on top of it, when they detain them, they're separating them from their families. You know, they don't give them due process. They lock them in, even if they're American citizens in some cases, like just arresting the wrong people. I mean, if you don't call... Man, the police needed defunding anyway. But this is like one of the first places you goddamn start. And instead of taking heed of what's happening in the country, no, now it's like, you know what, let's get more people in on it. Let's keep oppressing people of color. Let's keep shitting on immigrants who came here just because they're not white. This is disgusting, man. And once again, you know, look, you may disagree with me, but man, private citizens got no business being trained like this for 6 days on top of it. What then? You're going to let them back on the street so they can use your thug tactics on the next innocent person, the next person of color that they encounter? What is this? You don't even train your own officers correctly in the first place. Your whole purpose is disgusting and racist. Oh my God. You know, next thing the CIA is going to offer an enhanced interrogation summer camp. You know, just come along. It's a whole fun, you know, it's fun for the whole family. Teach you how to waterboard a few Iraqis. Let's do it, baby. Just fucking nuts, man. This is really an empire in decline. It's so pathetic. Fucking hell. Oh God. The Citizens Academy was first brought to Garcia's attention when his wife spotted a social media post about it. Yes, I just saw it on Instagram. So someone sent it to me, and he said the first thing I thought was, is this a prank or fake news or what is this? Because it's appearing on social media, and neither I or any of my staff have been alerted or reached out to by ICE. Oh, wow. Okay, so, you know, once again, you have... Do you remember when AOC and who was it with her? Was it Pramila Jayapal? I don't know. I remember AOC was there in any case. And you had a few people from Congress. They went to these detention camps at the border. And they wouldn't let them in at first, right? And then they said, oh, okay, well, we'll let you in, but you can't bring your phones in. Do you remember that? So even the people, the lawmakers who are responsible for funding them are being shut out. Okay? So, you know, you have paramilitarized police forces gone wild, running their own rackets and you know, playing God on earth. They won't even be held accountable to the people giving them the funding, the lawmakers. This is something else. And so once again, just like when they wouldn't let AOC and other people into see what's going on in the camps, how they're mistreating the detainees, the prisoners, the people that they've arrested, here as well. They're not even telling people in Congress, man. They're just using the money, misappropriating the funds to teach citizens, private citizens, how to go and arrest people of color. I can assure you, I can guarantee you, it is just a question of time before these nut jobs who participate in this program start arresting doing citizens arrest, right? And arresting people who are legally in the United States, who have done absolutely nothing wrong just because they're brown, just because they're not white. And speaking of citizens arrest, I don't need to tell you how that went with Ahmaud Arbery, right? Oh, he allegedly trespassed on a construction site. So, we just had to blast him with a shotgun. And then they walk free for a couple of months. And only because the video surfaced, they got arrested. No thanks. No thanks. I think people have quite had it up to here with, corrupt law enforcement, with these oppressive practices, this disgusting, paramilitarized response to the most mundane of situations. And then on top of it, citizens arrests, which, are white speak for lynching. That's what it is. All right. This is really disgusting, man. This is insane. I mean, I'm reading this and I just don't understand this, man. In the UK, you're not even allowed to have a pistol. No reason whatsoever. Self-defense, nothing. No guns. That's it. Shockingly, you're not going to believe this. There are no school shootings. Crazy, right? There's like no mass shootings ever. I wonder why. Damn. I just can't put my finger on it, man. So this shit where they're bringing in private citizens and teaching them how to not just use firearms, but then on top of it, encouraging them to practice these racist profiling tactics that they use on everyday citizens. I mean, they have no jurisdiction to do this. They have no right. You know what a citizen's arrest is going to look like. Lynching. It's just shooting the first brown person they see. I don't know. ICE told me to do it. No, motherfucker. Oh, this is fucking unbelievable. It's really dystopian. I'm not going to lie. When I first heard about this, I also thought it was a joke. What? Citizens arrest. Fuck out of here, man. This is their idea of defunding the police, really? Protests in every single state. People have had it with the killings, with the brutalization. And this is their idea of defunding the police. Wow. Wow. What's up, Alan? Good to see you. I'm good. How are you? Mana Talk says, all this because our political system needs a major, doable change. Nonpartyvoters.org. I'm going to need to look into that. I haven't heard of nonpartyvoters.org, but thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And yes, speaking of which, yes, Skeptical Mantis. I did see that. I did see that. That was very cool. So guys, before I depart, once again, I would kindly implore you to go and sign up on Rockfin, because foreign policy is going over there. I can't upload every single thing on YouTube because they're targeting, people cover real news, unfortunately. So, if you talk badly about the empire, Uncle Sam doesn't like that. So, definitely go on Rockfin. Here it is. And you just make a free account and you're good to go. Wonderful. Check this out. Just make a free account over here, sign up, and then hit follow so you don't miss any of the foreign policy, okay? There's a lot of foreign policy, anti-imperialist stuff here. You don't want to miss any of that whatsoever. And if you want to support the show, please, by all means, hit subscribe, or you can also go over to patreon.com and support over there. All right. $2, $5, $7 a month, whatever it is. And if we do get anyone else to sign up, I will definitely play a crab dance right now before we jet. All right. And by the way, you scroll down to the bottom, you can put in a custom amount. Okay. Whatever you like. Anything is appreciated. It really, really, really means a lot. Especially, last week we got defunded. We got demonetized. They pulled the plug. And that was not nice. So we always got to be on the lookout. And by the way, speaking of which, GoFundMe, we're actually halfway. Look where we at. This is wonderful. We are halfway to the goal, baby. So if you want to donate, please go ahead and donate. This helps the channel grow. This helps us get things like a nice battery that makes sure the camera doesn't die during live streams, or that, you know, we can actually have a screen in front of our faces when we're doing the live stream. So it really helps the channel grow, man. You know, we're trying to get as big as possible, and I cannot stress enough the importance of helping the channel also with sharing videos and everything, because, you know, again, I'm not going to complain. You know, I'm really blessed. Thank God I have this platform. I have you guys, but we need to keep growing as much as possible, you know, whether it's on YouTube or Rockfin. And, you know, when you share videos, when you tell people to come subscribe, when you tell them to come watch these videos, it really helps, man. You know, liking, commenting, it all helps with the algorithm, because we're fighting an uphill battle. We're already at a disadvantage just because we're speaking about these topics. So, you know, we have to fight extra hard. And, you know, if I may say so, I don't think there's many channels out there are going to give you a lot of foreign policy or anti-imperialist content. You know, the ones that are really doing great stuff, you can count them on one hand, you know, like Grayzone, Jimmy Dore, Combo Couch also do great stuff, Nico, you know, we're just a handful, man. So, you know, it's really important to support us, and yeah, just keep sharing the videos, and that's it, you know. I'm really grateful for everything. So, yeah, there's one thing I wanted to add about Assange. I'll say that in a second. About Assange and this Russiagate nonsense, but that's it, man. I'm sure Claudia and Mona were very, very kind enough to drop the links in the live chat. So I thank you very much humbly for supporting the show. And yep. So just one last thing about Julian, our man who's being tortured. You know, it's absolutely staggering that they keep this myth going that there was collaboration, communication, that the Trump campaign colluded with WikiLeaks to get the emails from the DNC and expose, you know, the rigging that they were doing against Bernie Sanders and near attendance warmongering, among other things. And it's absolutely crazy that they can see Donald Trump trying to prosecute Julian Assange and bring him over to the U.S. to face like 260 years in prison, and they know that Roger Stone lied about having contact with WikiLeaks, and yet nonetheless they keep pushing this narrative that Julian Assange working with Putin and they helped Trump. I mean, this is the most revolting, disingenuous nonsense that I've ever heard. You know, they're being intellectually dishonest on purpose. They're a bunch of fucking crooks and vermin. They know goddamn well Julian Assange didn't do anything. The only threat that Julian Assange and WikiLeaks present is that they expose imperialism, and this is very uncomfortable and an obstacle for both parties, okay? So that's why they're after him. Just making that clear. And the guy, man, he's rotting away in prison. He's a political prisoner. It's really heartbreaking. I hope he gets out. I really do. So there you go, guys. Once again, thank you so much for joining, for tuning in, for supporting the show. Really appreciate it. I hope I didn't miss anyone's super chats. Oh, I think one more over here. Okay, so it doesn't say anything on that one. Thank you. I really appreciate it. John 14. Thank you. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. And lots of segments coming up. Make sure you're on Rockfin so you don't miss the foreign policy. That's it. And links will follow below. The love below. All right. Have a good night. Have a good whatever morning, wherever you're at. My ass is tired. I bid you farewell and good night. Ta-ta. Goodbye. Take care, guys.